Have you ever woken up in the morning feeling stiff, sore, or strangely tired in your lower back and told yourself it must just be age catching up to you? Have you ever wondered why the pain seems to get a little worse each year, even though you haven't changed anything in your routine? If you've felt that way, I want you to know you're not alone, and your body may be trying to tell you something important. One of my patients once told me a story I've heard many times. She said, "Dr. Carter, I always thought my back pain was because I'm getting older, but it keeps getting worse, even though I'm doing the same things I've done for years." When we looked closely at her daily routine, the real cause became clear. Every day she sat for hours in a soft recliner that sagged in the middle. She spent long afternoons reading with her spine rounded forward. She stood with her pelvis tilted and her weight shifted to one side. This routine felt comforting to her, but it was slowly damaging her spine in ways she never noticed. Now I want you to imagine this. Picture a habit so ordinary that you barely think about it, something you do every single day because it feels natural. But quietly, underneath the surface, your spine is absorbing pressure, your discs are being compressed, and your muscles are getting weaker. The habit feels harmless, even soothing, but each day it chips away at your alignment until stiffness, fatigue, and pain begin to feel like a normal part of life. This leads us to the heart of today's video. What is this daily habit that destroys your spine faster than you think? Why does it cause so much damage, and how can you stop it before the pain becomes irreversible? These are the questions we're going to uncover together. As we age, our discs lose hydration, our core and glutes weaken, our head naturally shifts forward, and our joints become less flexible. These changes make the body far more vulnerable to the silent habit that so many seniors repeat without realizing the impact. In Part 2, I'm going to show you exactly what this habit is, why it breaks down the spine over time, how doctors diagnose this pattern, and what simple daily corrections can reverse years of damage. If you haven't already, subscribe to Senior Health Daily so we can take this important journey together. What the daily habit actually is, now that we've opened the door to this conversation, I want to take you into a place most people overlook, because it feels so ordinary, so familiar, and so harmless that it almost disappears into the background of daily life. But it is precisely this familiarity that makes the habit so dangerous. It hides in plain sight. It shows up every single day, and it is slowly weakening the spine of millions of older adults. The habit is prolonged sitting combined with poor posture, not sitting for a few minutes to rest, not taking a moment to relax. I'm talking about the hours many seniors spend in soft chairs, deep couches, sagging recliners, and car seats that cradle the body in all the wrong ways. These seats feel comfortable at first, but they encourage the body to collapse inward. Shoulders round forward. The lower back begins to slump. The pelvis tucks under or tilts too far forward. The head drifts ahead of the shoulders, adding extra weight the spine must carry. Most people don't feel the damage as it's happening. The spine doesn't scream right away. It whispers, a little stiffness in the morning, a bit of difficulty standing after sitting too long, a burning sensation across the lower back after a day of errands. These signals feel like inconveniences rather than warnings, and that's why the habit continues unchecked. The science behind this is surprisingly simple. Your spine is designed to move. Discs need movement to rehydrate, and joints need subtle shifts in pressure to stay nourished. When you sit for long periods, especially in a collapsed position, the discs in your lower back absorb up to 40% more pressure than they do when you're standing. 40%. Over hours, days, and years, that pressure wears them down faster than they can repair themselves. It's like pressing your thumb into a sponge and never letting it spring back up. Eventually, the shape changes. The structure weakens. The ability to absorb shock fades. And that's just the discs. The muscles that support your spine weaken too. When you sit for long stretches, your deep core muscles stop engaging. The glutes, which are essential for stability, begin to deactivate. The muscles around the spine become overstretched or underused. Soon, the spine is doing the job of supporting the body all by itself, without the help of the muscles that were designed to share the load. That's when pain becomes chronic. I once worked with a woman who had spent years sitting in her favorite recliner. It was her comfort spot, her reading spot, her place to watch television and drink her morning coffee. For hours every day, she'd sink into it without realizing her spine was curving like a letter C. Over time, she developed a persistent ache that radiated across her lower back and down into her hips. She thought it was arthritis or aging or simply part of life. But when we examined her daily routine, the cause became clear. Her recliner wasn't relaxing her spine. It was slowly destroying its alignment. This is why this habit is so dangerous. It doesn't feel harmful. It doesn't feel risky. It doesn't feel like something that could alter your mobility, independence, or comfort. It feels like rest. It feels like ease. And that's what makes it such a silent threat. What's even more concerning is that as we age, the spine becomes more vulnerable to the effects of prolonged sitting. The discs lose hydration and flexibility. The tissues become more sensitive to compression. The core becomes weaker if it isn't intentionally strengthened. Ligaments stretch under poor posture. Nerves become irritated. What might have been a minor issue at 40 becomes a serious problem at 65 or 75. As I sit here explaining this to you, I want you to know that this isn't about blame. It's about awareness. No one teaches seniors how to sit properly. No one explains which chairs are harmful and which are safe. No one warns you that the furniture designed for comfort often puts your spine in danger. And no one tells you that this one daily habit, repeated over years, can speed up degeneration far more than most people realize. In the next part of this section, we're going to explore why this habit damages the spine of older adults faster than younger ones, how to recognize hidden symptoms that most people dismiss, and how a few small changes can reverse years of strain. You may be surprised by how much control you actually have over your long-term spinal health. Why this habit damages senior spines faster than expected, hidden signs you're already affected. As we continue this conversation, I want you to understand something deeply important. The reason this daily habit destroys the spine of older adults faster than younger people is not because seniors are fragile. It is because the spine you're living with today is not the same spine you had 20, 30, or 40 years ago. Aging doesn't break the body. It simply changes the way the body responds to stress. And prolonged sitting plus poor posture become far more harmful in those later decades. Over time, the discs in your spine naturally lose water. This is not your fault. It is a normal part of life. But when discs lose hydration, they also lose their ability to cushion impact. Think of a plump, juicy sponge becoming thinner and stiffer. Every hour spent slouching in a soft couch or leaning forward in a recliner places more pressure on those dehydrated discs. Younger discs can rebound quickly. Older discs cannot. They become compressed more easily and take much longer to recover. The muscles surrounding the spine also change with age. Core muscles weaken if not actively trained. Glutes lose some of their natural strength. Even the small stabilizers that help hold the spine upright become slower to activate. When these muscles are not doing their job fully, prolonged sitting magnifies the stress on the spine by forcing the vertebrae and ligaments to carry weight they were never meant to carry alone. Ligaments, too, become more sensitive. Years of subtle overstretching from slouching posture weaken these tissues and reduce their ability to support the spine. And nerves, which run like delicate pathways between the vertebrae, become more easily irritated by even small changes in alignment. That is why something as simple as leaning forward or rounding the back can create a burning sensation for older adults, whereas younger people might not feel anything at all. This brings us to the hidden signs that this daily habit has already begun affecting your spine. It rarely starts with severe pain. It usually begins with morning stiffness that lasts longer than usual. Many seniors tell me they feel like they have to warm up their back before they can move comfortably. That stiffness is your spine telling you the discs and joints have been compressed too long. Another subtle sign is pain that gets better with movement. If your back hurts when you first stand but improves as you walk around, that's not aging. That's posture-related stress. It means your spine is asking for motion, circulation, and alignment. Numbness or tingling in the feet, fingers or hips is also part of this pattern. It happens because the nerves become irritated from sitting with the pelvis tucked or the head forward. When the nerves are slightly compressed for hours, they respond by sending these warning sensations. A burning feeling across the lower back is another classic sign. Many older adults mistake this for muscle fatigue or arthritis, but it's often caused by prolonged pressure on the discs and ligaments from slouching. And then there is the difficulty standing up straight. If you rise from a chair and feel like your body is pulled forward or your back is resisting, that is not just stiffness. It is the result of muscles that have stopped supporting you properly due to years of sitting in misaligned positions. To help you see the real impact of this habit, I want to share a few stories from seniors I've worked with, because nothing makes the science clearer than the lived experiences of real people. One man in his 70s spent most of his evenings in a recliner watching television. It felt good to him, especially after a long day. But over time, he developed nerve compression in his lower back. His pelvis was constantly tilted backward in that recliner, putting pressure on his lumbar discs hour after hour. When he finally realized the connection and made changes, his pain decreased dramatically. Another patient, a retired teacher, loved to read for hours each day. She sat at the edge of her seat, leaning forward slightly without noticing it. After months of this, she developed sciatica so severe she couldn't walk without pain. Once we adjusted her posture and changed where and how she sat, the improvement was almost immediate. There was also a woman in her early 70s whose back pain completely disappeared after she replaced her soft, sagging couch. For years, she thought something was wrong with her spine. In reality, it was her furniture reshaping her posture day after day. These stories matter because they show the truth behind the daily habit. The danger isn't in sitting itself. The danger is in the way sitting shapes your spine over time. It happens quietly, slowly, and then one day, the pain feels overwhelming, and you don't know where it came from. In the next section, we're going to break down the simplest science behind how the spine breaks down under these conditions and what you can do to start reversing the damage right away. You'll see that your spine is far more resilient than you've been led to believe, and you have much more control than you think. The simple science, practical fixes, and when this habit turns dangerous. As we move deeper into this conversation, I want to bring the science back to a place that feels simple and easy to understand, because the human spine isn't as mysterious as it seems. You don't need complicated medical terms to grasp what's going on inside your body. You just need a clear picture. Think for a moment about how a credit card bends. If you bend it a little once or twice, nothing happens. But if you bend it every day, slowly, gently, repetitively, it begins to weaken. The crease appears, the structure changes, and eventually, it doesn't spring back the way it used to. Your spine responds the same way. The daily habit of slouching, collapsing into soft chairs, or leaning forward while sitting wears on your discs little by little. It's not dramatic. It doesn't break anything instantly. It simply changes the spine one tiny moment at a time until the pain becomes your new normal. Another way to imagine it is to picture a garden hose. If you place your foot lightly on it, the water eventually slows. If you keep the pressure there long enough, the flow stops. The nerves inside your spine behave the same way. When posture compresses them for hours, they don't send pain signals right away. Instead, they send tingles, numbness, or burning sensations. Those are early warning signs that something is blocking the flow. Discs also depend on movement to rehydrate. They're like little sponges. When you walk, stand, stretch, or shift your weight, the discs draw in fluid that keeps them plump and cushioned. But when you sit for long periods, especially in a bent position, they become dehydrated and thin. They lose the ability to protect the spine. This is why many seniors feel sore or stiff after sitting too long. The discs didn't get the motion they needed to stay healthy. Even your core, which acts like your natural internal belt, adapts to your daily habits. If you sit slouched every day, the core gets the message that it doesn't need to work. Over time, those muscles grow weaker, and the spine is left without the support it needs. Weak core muscles almost always result in an overworked lower back, and an overworked lower back eventually becomes a painful one. The most encouraging part of all this is that the spine is incredibly responsive to small, consistent changes. You don't need dramatic exercises or intense workouts. You simply need daily awareness. Let's talk about the steps that make the biggest difference for older adults. One of the simplest is standing up every 30 to 45 minutes. You don't need to stretch or march in place. Just stand, shift your weight, breathe deeply, and give your discs a chance to rehydrate. This alone reduces pressure almost instantly. Another important change is adjusting how you sit. Keeping your hips slightly above your knees helps maintain a healthier spine curve. Using a small lumbar pillow supports the natural arch of your lower back. If you lean forward to read or look at a device, lifting it a little higher can spare your neck and shoulders. These tiny adjustments add up quickly. Strengthening your glutes and hips is another powerful strategy. Many seniors don't realize that weak hips can cause lower back pain. When the glutes don't activate, the lower back takes on their workload. Even gentle exercises like glute squeezes, pelvic tilts, or short walks can help retrain these muscles. I often recommend light stretching routines, just 5 minutes a day, loosening tight hip flexors, opening the chest, and gently rotating the spine can undo hours of sitting tension. You don't need to be flexible. You just need consistency. And one of the most overlooked solutions is improving the furniture you use daily. A firm, supportive chair can completely change how your spine feels. A sagging couch, on the other hand, can undo weeks of good posture in just a few hours. Sometimes the fastest road to relief is simply upgrading where you sit. But there's a point where this habit becomes more than uncomfortable. It becomes dangerous. When posture, prolonged sitting, and weak core muscles combine, the risk of more serious spinal issues rises sharply. Conditions like herniated discs, spinal stenosis, sciatica, and chronic muscle imbalances often trace their roots back to years of poor sitting habits. And once these issues develop, they don't just create pain. They disrupt sleep, mobility, confidence, and independence. I've seen seniors who struggled to walk across a room because years of sitting had weakened their stabilizing muscles so much that their spine could no longer support them. Others developed nerve compression that began with subtle tingles in the toes and eventually turned into sharp shooting pain. Ignoring early signs allows reversible problems to become long-term damage. That's why it's essential to know when to seek medical guidance. If you ever feel pain radiating down your leg, numbness that gets worse, weakness in the foot or ankle, difficulty standing upright, or pain that wakes you at night, those are not signals to push through. Those are signs that the spine needs professional attention. Belts, stretching, and posture adjustments may help temporarily, but these red flags require evaluation. The important thing to remember is that none of this is about blame. It's about awareness. And awareness gives you power. Once you understand how this daily habit shapes your spine, you can choose small changes that protect your body and improve your comfort. You have far more control than you think, and your spine is far more adaptable than you've been told. In the final part of this video, I'm going to bring everything together. We'll talk about what your pain is actually trying to teach you, how simple habits can transform your long-term comfort, and why your body isn't giving up on you. It's waiting for you to support it in the right way. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to take a slow breath and place a gentle hand on your lower back. Not to judge it, not to criticize it, but simply to acknowledge the part of your body that has carried you through every season of your life. Every memory, every celebration, every loss, every moment of growth. Your spine has been there for all of it. If there is one truth I want you to hold on to, it is this. Pain is communication, not punishment. When your back aches, stiffens, or burns, it isn't betraying you. It is speaking. It is asking for alignment, asking for movement, asking for care. Once you begin listening, everything starts to shift. And here's the part so many seniors don't realize until it's almost too late. The spine can heal at any age. 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. Your body is always trying to repair what daily habits have worn down. It simply needs the right support. A stronger core, better posture, standing a little more often, choosing a chair that lifts you up instead of pulling you down, moving gently throughout the day. These small changes may seem insignificant in the moment, but they create powerful transformations over time. I often tell my patients, your spine is not fragile. It is resilient. It is patient. It is hopeful. What it needs most is your awareness and your willingness to care for it the way it has cared for you. So let me leave you with this thought. Your body is not giving up on you. It's waiting for you to support it with intention, gratitude, and kindness. If today's message has helped you, inspired you, or given you clarity, I invite you to subscribe to Senior Health Daily. Let's continue this journey together. One step, one choice, one healthy habit at a time. Your best years can still be ahead.